right, now, welcome in, welcome in. This is I Bring It Every Day, and my name is Kelly, and welcome to Motivational Monday. And today's topic is I am worthy. All right. Now, this is something that I think that a lot of people, especially, I'm not saying that it's just women, but I think women are kind of guilty or we're raised to, let me move this. I got slime. Ooh. Anyway, I we've been sort of not forced to be more giving to other people. Always thinking of ourselves second. And so I just want to give you just a couple of good reasons to think about why it's important to take care of yourself. This is really talking about self care, and I'm gonna just keep harping on this because I feel like this is something that a lot of us can really be better at. And specifically, what I'm talking about is food. And so, one of the things that I like to do is I want to get everybody sort of starting the week off on a positive note. And then just thinking about just a couple of questions you can ask yourself as you go through your week to make your week, more productive and things like that. So this is what I'm talking about today. So I am worthy. So, really, the one thing that I've noticed over the last few years is that there's been a lot of, you can take care of yourself in a multiple different ways. And I just sort of took a few notes last night as I was thinking about this topic. And so, one of the things that I was also thinking about, just in terms of making your life better, is sort of claiming your peace, but also, feeding yourself better and treating yourself better and regarding the food. And those were the two things that I kind of wanted to talk about today. But I'm gonna start out with food because I think people are starting to wake up to the difficulties that, especially in the United States. I don't know about other places. I think other places seem like they have it sort of under control, but the United States is run by big food corporations. And I've noticed that the food quality has really gone down probably phew, last probably 40, 50 years. They're saying since around the 1950s, probably more than that. So probably 70 years. But the bottom line is, I normally what I do, I guess on a weekly basis is I look at my shopping list and I kind of say, what the heck can I do, to make myself eat better? And so the one thing that I always talk about is, pulling out is fresh as you can, fresh food. So what does that mean? Usually now you can do canned, and fresh is literally, out of the produce section, if you're doing that, and the meat as well. So over the last couple of years, when I'm able to, and it's all based on, finances and how things are going during the course of the month, but I've been really living, in the farmers market. You know what I mean? Now, farmers markets, you know, can be can be good and bad. I've heard, I think a lot of the farmers markets have been, some of them are a little scammy. And when what I mean by that is, you really want to have, like, whoever that local farmer is that's growing that item, to get it as close to home as you can. And that's really hard, especially in the wintertime in the United States. Other places, can, like in warmer climates, you can get them. And but it's hard, it's hard in the US to get good, fresh food quickly. But anyway, so here we go. I'm going to just say hi to a couple of people that popped in. So we have Suzanne. Hello. Thanks for coming in. Yes, we're all worthy. That's right. Yes, I love it. And the hearts. Yes. And then Miguel saying, hola. I found that fresh produce needs to be cooked the same day you buy it, or the next day it doesn't last anymore. Oh, that is interesting. See, I don't really know. Yeah, but I'm sure that that is potentially a situation. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think about it, yeah, the longer it sits in your well, actually, they say a lot of stuff you're not supposed to refrigerate. So I remember just sort of looking at two different things. They were talking about like onions. They say they get a little bit weird in the fridge and they chemically alter. And potatoes, you can't do that and things. Right. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's a good one. I love that. Yep. So, if you can't get to this, and this can be expensive, I say, what is it? Frozen. Yep. Frozen is a good alternative, versus canned. Yeah, I love it. Yep. Yeah. Cause, well, and what's interesting with the canned food is, um, a lot of them are not, they're not, they're lining the cans with plastic, which I've seen several times with like, with soda, soda pop or whatever, that when the people sort of stuck the can into, some kind of toxic chemical, there was actually a plastic bag in there. And I was like, "Oh no." See, this is the thing, like we can't get rid of the plastic. Like it seems like they're sticking like plastic is appearing everywhere, which is really scary. So there's that. Yeah. But the frozen I think is good because especially if you live in an area like me, like I'm landlocked, so I can't get seafood fresh. I can, but not really. It is, but it's not really. So, for example, we buy frozen salmon, and what my understanding of it is that at the ship they freeze it. They freeze it immediately as soon as they catch it. So it is pretty fresh, and you do get all the vitamins that you need. But yeah, definitely frozen is better. And they do the same thing with corn and you know Brussels sprouts and other stuff like that. You can they put it right into the freezer as soon as that thing comes in, and they clean it. Yeah. Yep. So let's see. So Miguel said, if you want to know what should go in the fridge, look at the grocery store. Onions aren't in the fridge. That's right. But like when you cut an onion, like you can't leave it out because guess what? It starts to break down. Yes, that's the problem. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. You're right. Yeah, that you're not supposed to refrigerate. But they do say that like chemically, onions turn on, they do some weird stuff in the fridge. And I can't remember what it is, but look it up, do your own research. Yeah, it's crazy. Let's see. And then yeah, oh, I like it. Suzanne saying we are all worthy of a stress-free existence. Yeah, and I want to talk to that a little bit because that's kind of been on my mind as well. Yeah, was stress-free existence. And that is probably more important than anything else, because your mind sort of runs everything, doesn't it? Yep. Oh, you can freeze a cut onion. That's good. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll have to do. Because sometimes I buy those massive onions, and I go, "Oh yeah," and then I figure I'm going to go and eat it. Or you know what I mean? Or you can't eat the whole thing. It's too much, right? Yeah. So I've done that. Yep. So I will definitely freeze. Yeah, because you sit there and you go, "What are you going to do?" You know what I mean? Like you sit there and you go, "Oh gosh, what the heck am I going to do?" So there's that. Yeah, but that's good to know. But yeah, canned and cooked are salty. So buy no salt added canned. Yeah, I think that's the ticket. No salt. Yep. And a lot of people really um like when they do the processing in the canned a lot of times, especially tomato sauce if you're into that. Boy, there's a lot of sauce. There's a lot of salt in those canned, you know, tomato sauces and they're very convenient, but you really have to be careful because that's pretty salty, and they do add a lot of sugar as well. Yeah. So try. But anyway, but like I said, so that's really the biggest thing is try to avoid the stuff that's in a box. You know, because we have really, I used to buy not a lot of stuff in the box, but every now and again, I would just say, oh, I want to. Sometimes I would do like those rice mixes, like my just to mix it up. Because I would, my husband's family eats a lot of rice, and kind of by extraction, we were eating that. And I know like if you have type 2, or any kind of diabetes, you can't really eat any of that starchy stuff. But the thing is, just for like a different, flavor, I would say, oh, let's get this Mediterranean, blah blah blah, and try it. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's kind of crazy. But all that stuff, when you look at the ingredients, the ingredients are pretty large. I mean, the ingredients just go on and on. You know what I mean? So you could actually do that yourself. Just use a little broth, and then you add whatever seasonings you like. And you can make your own broth, which is like a big thing. But that's really, like the first thing I just wanted to talk about was just trying to feed yourself a little bit better and fresher, as fresh as you can. But it's like I said, it's wintertime here. So there's a whole lot that you have to really you have to work that through. But like I said, I just think it's really important that we, take care of ourselves, at least nutritionally. And there's a lot of information that you can get. I think it's the USDA.gov. Now they used to update this website a lot. They don't anymore. After the whole shutdown and everything that happened about 6 months ago, it's been a real slow update. But you can find out recalls in there, and there's recalls, and they also will break down some of the food in terms of like nutrition. And I'm gonna see, maybe I can. I don't know if I'll be able to put this in, but if you go to, you can plug in. Actually, it's under food. Let me see. I'm gonna look. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to share this nutrition. Here we go. I'm gonna see if I can find just an example. Ooh, but there's it's interesting. I was just looking on here. They have a lot of stuff with food safety that so they're talking about foodborne illnesses and stuff like that and how to avoid that. And then they were saying like using a food thermometer is really good just to verify that you have the right temperature for the meat that you're cooking. And especially like when you're grilling in the summertime, like that's a real big deal. So that's something that they suggest. So I kind of like that. I'm kind of digging that. And but they're talking about, don't leave food out too long. Like for example, if you're getting food delivery, see a lot of people are doing the what is that called? The dashing and all that. So, but anyway, but there's some good information on the USDA .gov that talks about food. And so, so just, do your research. And I always say, if you want to find out just the nutritional value of certain things, that's a good, and there's other resources, that you can go to that talks about food. And the one thing I think a lot of people don't really think about is, like, I know part of like what you're eating, the total amount is calories in, calories out, and then how fast you're moving and things like that. Like it's all connected. You have to make sure that you're eating the adequate amount of energy for your day. Yeah. And okay. Oh, Suzanne is frozen onions and green peppers. Oh, that's really good. Good to know. Yeah, I'll have to do that. And I froze some tomatoes, and I have to, so I at some point I have to still process. I have a few tomatoes left over from the summer. I was thinking, but they do go in the freezer really nice. You just throw them in there in a bag, and boy, they froze up nice. Yeah, so I'm very very happy about that. But anyway, but these are just some things to think about. If you just want to check out like some of the nutritional information. So that's the one thing. But green peppers, yeah, I always forget about peppers. I need to do that more. Because I always find that I leave them in there and then sometimes they go bad, so you have to eat them pretty quick. Now, usually I snarf them down, but there's been a few times, when you forget you have them and then you got to use them. So, yeah, so that's the main thing is trying to avoid, food waste. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let me see what else. What else? What else? Okay. Now, let me see. I'm just going to check one thing here. The stream is looking good. All right now. Okay. Nice. Nice. All right, here we go. Now, the other thing that we'll talk a little bit about, the mental health stuff. And I'm just going to erase this, but because I think this is where we are now. In my notes, look at my crazy notes here. Okay, there we go. So I said, so I was basically saying, I'm worthy, and I want to take care of myself with healthy and nourishing food, and I will take the time out to select and cook the food. So just saying, give yourself just a little extra time in selecting what you're going to eat and give yourself time to cook. You know what I mean? Sometimes it is a pain in the tushy, and especially if you have a family that's kind of standing over you going, "Where's the food?" But you want to just give yourself time to select it, when you're in the store, take your time, select the freshest, the healthiest things, and then keep it moving. You know what I mean? And then incorporate that into your diet. All right, so So here's the second part. We're going to talk about, let's see, how did Suzanne phrase it? I like that. Fresh produce. Hold on. Stress-free existence. Yes. So we are worthy of a stress-free existence. I like that. I'm going to use that. Oh, hey, Samoan Watchman. Good to see you. Yes. Here we go. If only I can spell. Here we go. All right. And Breeze Omega. Hello. Peace and love. Yes. Good to see you. So anyway, saying hi to everybody. So thank you all so much for coming in. So like I said, we're gonna feed ourselves the best we can. Let's number one. And I don't know if you guys, I'm not a big like Whole Foods person, but or like I'm not really into the fancy supermarket. But I've been sort of living in Aldi. Not that I'm sponsored, but holler at me, Aldi. Uh, Aldi and Lidl. So those are the two German supermarkets, and they're kind of the same. It's just Lidl's on the East Coast, I think, just on the East Coast. They haven't made it over to the West Coast, but Aldi's everywhere. It seems like it's really moving. And the thing that I like about them is also the other thing I want to mention is that they have shrink wrapped. It's not shrink wrapped, but it's oh my goodness, what do you call that when you stick it in the machine and it sucks the air out? So they have it, the meat is prepared where it's in this it's like shrink wrapped, and the air's removed, and it stays really fresh. And so I feel like sometimes when you buy meat in a store, if you don't get that thing home right away, it's kind of weird. So this way, I just like the fact that they put it in plastic and shrink wrap it. That it's that way. And I noticed that Lidl and Aldi do that. Not with everything, but with a lot of stuff. And then they have a lot of frozen. You can get a lot of frozen meat too. So frozen, like salmon, any of the exotic, seafood. They have a lot of that, which I love. Vacuum seal. Thank you. That's what they do, and I enjoy that. For me, it's like I don't know why psychologically I like the vacuum seal. Yeah, it's really good. Oh no, Samoan Watchman said Whole Foods makes great cookies. Yes. Yeah, interesting. Now so does Lidl. They have a huge bakery. So Aldi does not have a bakery, and everything that they have it's almost frozen. That's the only little thing that's a little bit weird. So if you buy French bread from them, they have frozen. It's frozen. And that's weird, and I think it's got some preservatives, because I think they ship it, and that's kind of how they do it. They ship everything. A lot of stuff is frozen. Um, Including like their bakery stuff. So kind of doing this with the Aldi, but the Lidl or Lidl, they have a bakery in there, and they bake every day. So you can get French bread, Italian bread. They make that sourdough. You can get croissants, donuts. Like they do all that stuff, which is bad. Oh, but Wegmans now. So the sad part is, yeah, I don't have a Wegmans. I wish I did. Breeze Omega, that's a good one. And now that place, it used to be a little bit better, but I noticed ever since COVID, like everybody's sort of skimping back on a lot of stuff. So Wegmans, you can go in there and you can actually get pizza. So they make homemade pizza and hoagies and stuff like that. If say for me, I used to do that sometimes during the week or on a Friday night. They would have like a $5 pizza. It was big too. They don't do it anymore, but they used to have a $5 pizza or $6 pizza. It was really cheap. You can go in there and get a fresh pizza with like one topping for like $5 or $6, and that was great. Oh, make some bread. Okay, Suzanne. Yeah, I haven't done that in a little while, so I need to get on that because my husband was saying the same thing. Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So Breeze Omega said all these smells like plastic. Interesting. It's possible. It's very possible. Yeah, I mean, I think like if you need real basic raw ingredients like flour, sugar, all that stuff, like that's pretty real generic stuff like that. That's real easy to get. And then if you want like apples and pears and peaches, they get all that stuff in blueberries and celery and stuff like that. Like that's real cheap, and you can get that. But yeah, the bread is cool. But so anyway, but like I said, trying to navigate through all this food, it's very. It's very hairy, and I would say like just try to try to buy with with the least amount of ingredients, and you should be fine. And try to start with your own. Make your own stuff. So like your own tomato sauce and what else? Even do your own soups. Because there's just so much stuff in soup. A lot of people like soup, and I'm just like you should just do your own. Because most of the food is pretty good. Yeah, it's with that. Oh, here we go. So Wegmans is too far for me to drive. Same with Trader Joe's, but Sprouts. Now, see, I don't have a Sprouts. See, I am in a food desert. I have a feeling I'm in a food desert. And the people that I live around are cheap. So most stores don't want to move here because they've been begging like Whole Foods and Wegmans to come, and they're like, nope, which I think is hilarious. But I think all this stuff, what they say is um, that like all this processed food and stuff leads to, they say, stress. They say like depression and stress. And so, if nothing else, feeding yourself good is to avoid, this mental health stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or decrease mental health. And I wonder if maybe that's why, people have had such a hard time over the last, few years, because you heard about mental health, but it seems like every day you hear about it. It's like every day you hear something. So I always wonder, if it's because of the bad food. I don't know. Just wondering out loud. Let's see. Stu Leonard's makes my favorite marinara sauce better than Raoul's. Really? Yeah, I've heard about that, Stu Leonard. Yeah, I've never had it. See, we don't have it, and we don't have Trader Joe's, and we don't have Sprouts, and we don't have Wegmans. So I always have to go, I'm going to say like 40 miles to get to Wegmans. Wegmans is great. And we used to go there a lot of times when I was working. My boss would like to go there for lunch, you know. So if you're out and about and you just want lunch and want to get a sandwich, like you can get a regular sandwich there, In addition, and then they had this. I remember they would have Chinese food. Now it was terrible. I thought it was bad. It was just really tasteless Chinese food, but they had pretty decent Indian food if you wanted, tandoori chicken and some other stuff like that. And they would do the fancy rice with the stuff in it. I don't know what they call it, but it was actually pretty good. And I was surprised that they actually had that. But for me, it was always like the pizza was decent and the hoagies were decent and the sandwiches. Yeah, I remember that specifically. But my boss would love to just get a sandwich from Wegmans. It was crazy. But I have to try that marinara. But I saw some guy, speaking of that marinara sauce, he just took like 4 tomatoes, put water, peeled the skins off, like boiled them in the pan with a little bit of water, peeled the skins off, and then added all the other ingredients and did the sauce in like 5 seconds. And I went, oh wow. So we can all do that. I'm gonna have to try that. Oh, Paramus. Ooh, okay, I will do that. Note to self. Let me see. Paramus. Okay. Uh, Paramus NJ. I will check it out. All right. Stu Leonard. Yeah. I heard that's a pretty nice store. Or watch it on YouTube. Yeah, I heard some good stuff about his store. Yeah. That's pretty good. But yeah, that's where we are. But they say that all that processed food kind of leads in a decline in mental health. They said specifically depression. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I tend to wonder if this is part of the situation in addition to all the mess that's going on in the world, you know. But I definitely think like feeding yourself better helps. And I just feel like you feel better anyway, when you start eating. And when my husband and I started eating more fresh stuff, like I said, he dropped 15 pounds in a minute. He didn't even have to try. And I think I did too. Like I know my clothes were looser. I wasn't really measuring the weight per se. I was just trying to make sure, try not to have the belly, you know what I mean? Because trying to avoid the big belly, but it's hard, when you're a woman and you you get to a certain age, But oh, okay. So yeah, Breeze of Meg is a cooker. Yeah, he likes cooking. So he says it's too small. I have to check it out. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. Sprouts. Yeah. I will have to check it out. But we have like they put a Trader Joe's in Philadelphia, and there's a couple in suburban Philly that I can go to. But and then Wegmans, there's a couple. kind of in that same area. So I can actually make the supermarket run. And I could probably hit a Lidl, a Wegmans, and yeah, within like if I go to the King of Prussia Mall, I can do that. I can hit Lidl's, Wegman, and I think Trader Joe's is not far from there. Yeah, that's true. So actually, I could do the three in one day and see what's happening if I go down there. Yeah, okay. And yeah, you got to use Roma tomatoes. Yeah, I have those. Now, see, the thing is, Breeze, I think that Roma tomatoes are bland. Like I don't like the flavor of them. Whenever you grow your own tomatoes, oh my gosh, they're so good. And even my husband was like, "Can I have a tomato?" And when we were growing them, and we were kind of just eating them like chiclets, which is bad. Just a lot of sugar. You know what I mean? We have to blend. We have to eat more green stuff too. But yeah, I mean, growing them was pretty good. So that's definitely that's on the list for summer. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at a lot of these packaged ingredients, like you gotta like let it be. And like I said, this guy made the tomato sauce in like 5 minutes, and I couldn't believe it. But the Roma, huh? Oh, Food Lion. Now, see, we had one, and then it closed. It only lasted about 6 months, and I'm not sure why. Yeah. So we have Giant here, Breeze, which I think is good, but it's expensive. Like I went in there the other day, and I saw $25 ground meat, and I went for a little tiny package. And I was kind of like, "Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh." Yeah, that was bad. Oh, Jersey Roma from the farm stand. Yeah, I guess that's what I have to do. Cuz those Oh, okay, so Bree. All right, so I'm coming down there, Breeze Omega. Go come get my tomatoes and my black-eyed peas and my collard greens and all the good food you're making down there. I'm going to be like, "Hey, I'm just going to hang out for a while he cooks." Yes. But I'm going to be working on the tomatoes. So, but let's get back to this Oh, San Marianos are good as well. Okay, I'm gonna have to try some. But that's good. I'm gonna write that down. I got my Roma and San Mariano. Yeah, we'll have to try it. But like we really have to. We were doing some of the heirloom, and I can't remember those ones, but they're the ones that are kind of big and they're kind of bumpy. Like those really taste good. The food is never fresh at Giant. Yeah, see, and Giant, is a big corporation, so that stuff, that's the problem when everything's trucked in. Like you get too much going on. Oh, come on, cool. Yeah, but let's talk more about this stress-free existence. You have to give me some ideas. So the biggest thing that I notice with me is, sometimes I have to do some. I do a little unplugging, so you don't see me around as much anymore. And I really need to up the exercise. I'm going to be honest. I've been walking a lot though probably the last 3 weeks, and that's been good. My husband's getting skinnier and skinnier. Like that weight's just falling off. But I need to like I got to do just a little bit more than what he's doing. But he's a guy. You know how that is. But like, how do you get rid of stress? So let's see what we do. So I do this unplug, do a little walking. What else do I do? And once again, and it's the eating. I'm trying to eat well. I kind of add that in there. Try to eat well, and then the exercise. Yeah, so well, that's the exercise there, the walking. And I don't know if there's anything you guys do that helps you out in terms of you know minimizing a lot of the stress. But I noticed that like I've been doing this one. Walk away, walk away from the crazy. And I'll just say like there's certain people that you're around that may cause you anxiety. And I have a couple of family members I have to walk away. I have one that I have to walk away from. And it's really interesting. But I've done it my whole life. Like this one relative. when they get started, I have to do this, you know. And I try to do it as kindly as I can, but this one I cannot argue with them, and I try not to, that's really the thing. But the key thing is, sometimes, you have to really like you really do have to defend yourself. And I think this is a big, you know, this is a big thing if, a lot of times people try to project, negative stuff. And so there's a little bit of a balance here. Do you walk away? Do you defend yourself? And sometimes you just have to set, they say set a boundary, you have to kind of say, nope, not today, for the following reasons. And then you have to dip, and so that's the whole thing. Sometimes you really have to do this to keep people, you know. So it's weird. So maybe you guys don't have this problem, but I know for me, I'm usually pretty chill. And you really have to do something crazy for me to lose my mind, usually. Usually. And I just give you an example. So I'm like a reformed crazy person, whereas I used to, bark at people, or bark back, and I reached the point where I said, sometimes it's not even worth your time to bark, but sometimes you have to bark because people will continue to, they'll continue the bad behavior. So you sort of have to put a plug in this stuff. And, I don't know how you guys handle that kind of stuff, but that's the thing that you have to do. I think a lot of people, to maintain that stress free existence, you have to, you got to put a plug in the bad behavior, and you got to have a conversation with somebody, behind the scenes, and be like, no more, or sometimes in front of the scenes. You know what I mean? But that's one of the things that I always say. You have to figure out which one, how far you're going to go with either one of these two. you know, and those are the things that you have to do. But sometimes you just, you have to take care of business. You know what I'm saying? So so that's why I'm chill now. Yes, there you go. Oh, you ignore. Right. That's good. So I'll tell you, I'll show you both sides of that ignoring antagonistic folks. So I remember, so I had this situation when I was in middle school, and I don't know, it's like weird. This girl like turned on. People turn on you. They turn on you. You don't know why, but they just do. And and she was just antagonizing, and I did the ignore. But the thing that was weird was the ignore got me into more trouble. I think because um like she didn't I think the ignoring made it worse. Yeah. So that's what it is. That's for sure. Oh, good morning. Okay, there's Shatika. Good morning and blessings. Good to see you. And then Suzanne saying, "Yeah, I've learned that some people thrive on conflict and drama." That is true. That is absolutely true. But there's that line. Like, you have sometimes you have to sort of defend yourself, or at least, set that boundary and go, "Nope, not today." You know what I mean? Whatever you got to say. And then or you just walk away. Now, so like I said, so I did this walking away situation, and this person, I think it just revved them up more. And after about the third or fourth, I kind of let it go. I just kept let it go, let it go, let it go. And then they were being very antagonistic. And I remember I like stopped. I stopped the class. They were behind me, so it's like I was in the front row, they were in the back, and she was, the whole time just all this stuff. And finally, I just like walked. I walked from the front row to the back row, and I forget what I said to her. I said something crazy, but I said, "One more time, one more time." And you know what? The funny thing was, her mouth was on the open. It was on the floor, like she couldn't believe it. And my teacher, I remember at the time, was like, "What the?" my, my teacher was like, "WTF?" And I said, "Well," I said, "Listen, this has been going on for a while, and I just like I couldn't take it anymore." But I just said, "One more time," and she left me alone. But I let it go. You know what I mean? And so you have to sort of, I don't think you got to figure this out What's the best way? And some people don't respond to this. This makes it worse, which is weird, walking away. You would think. Yeah. But yeah, the people really know you. No, yeah, people that really know you know your boundaries. That's what Suzanne's saying. Yeah, it's crazy. And the others don't matter. Yeah, that's right. That is absolutely true. But that's sort of the thing. I mean, that's the thing that's it's not black and white. You know what I mean? And I said to myself, like, I could have really that could have gone bad. Could have gone poorly. But ironically, bullies don't respond well to confrontation. And I guess that's what they need. Just a little confrontation. You don't have to, you know, get crazy, but there's that thing. So that's really what you have to decide that. I don't know. And I can't figure out, the best way to handle that. It's really tough. It's kind of case by case, right? Yeah. But that's where, so the bottom line is, you've got to try to do the best, to eliminate this stress, whether it's exercise, you know, and then also maybe you could find finding people who are kind of like minded, so friends or whatever. I'm just going to put friends, family who can help you out, you know if you have any, that can do that for you, people that are supportive, and that's a big deal, and sometimes it's hard finding people who are kind of like minded, you know what I mean, and that will support you regardless, whenever crazy stuff happens. You need that support for sure. But yeah, those are the people that so these are the kind of the ways that I've been, at least lately, trying to minimize stress, and I've been feeling pretty good. And like I said, and those people that cause stress or live with the drama, I've been doing this, walking away, just leaving them to their own devices, and and I've been chilling, and everything's been good. Because like I said, the bottom line is, you need your peace, because life is hard enough, without the extra drama, right? Yes. So anyway, that's the story for today. So I got my tomatoes. Whoops, they just hit my thing here. But that's the whole thing. So yeah, so I'm worthy, therefore I will claim my peace by eliminating unnecessary noise and drama, and I will continue to take care of myself. And that's what I wrote here. I will claim my peace by, eliminating unnecessary noise and drama. Yeah, and I will continue to take care of myself, and I will challenge anybody to take care of yourself, because you not saying that your family won't do it for you, but you really want to make sure that you have control over yourself. And that's that's the bottom line. You have to take care of yourself. That is the deal, in whatever way that means, whether it's spiritual and things like that. But yeah, but there it is. Yeah, yep, yep, yep. But that's all I have for this week. But like I said, have a great week. You know, continue to take care of yourself. Whether that's the food, and I really challenge people to really up the game with food, because I think a lot of people just want to go the easy route, and it does take work. And I guess that's really what I'm saying. In the final analysis, is all this stuff is work. It really is. It's not easy. And so you really do have to do the work. And that is the deal. I say you got to do the work. You got to work, and you're worth it. And that's why you do the work. You got to do the work. You know, and it's not a selfish thing. You just have, but this does involve work. You know, so that's the bottom line there. All right. So let's see if anybody else any other comments. I'm gonna look. Let me see here. All right now. Yeah, we're looking good. Looking good. So anyway, but I'd like to say thank you all for coming in. And if you like what you see, if you're new, you know, hit the like button if you like it. Well, hit the like. I mean, if you do. And yeah, no pressure that way. Let's see. Maybe I'll do this real quick. Let's see what's happening here. Yeah, we're good. I think I got it. All right, we did it. So, like I said, it's Monday. Start your week off great. Keep pushing. And like I said, you got to take care of yourself. It's very important. Yeah, have a great week. Yeah, have a great week. Thanks, Miss Suzanne. But thank you all for coming in. And like I said, fill me in if anything, if any of this stuff works for you. And if not, let me know too. But this is where I'm at this week. Yes. All right now. Well, we'll see you soon. Take care and peace and love and drizzle. Yes.